Megan Lyon, and together with Christine Abigail Payag, Angeli Modikilio, Juan Vanilio, Miamor Pangan, Leah Grace Langamin, and Mary Riza Patricio. We are the Black Tree Group, and we are going to discuss about Lesson 3, which is the principles of indigenous crafts design, with a subtopic A, measuring and laying out the land, and B, designing of indigenous crafts. So let's have first the overview of the indigenous art. So the Philippines has many villages devoted to the art and craft industry, attracting tourists and providing jobs for many Filipinos. Traditional crafts like weaving, metalsmithing, pottery, wood carving, and goldsmithing are well known throughout the nation and highly regarded by both locals and visitors. So throughout the Philippine history, craftsmanship and its different forms have always been prevalent. The Filipinos have an innate inclination to create, exemplifying the state of being engaged in their craft and taking a sense of joy and pride in their work. The Filipino craftsman dedicates himself to his art and telling the story of the Philippines, bearing its truest essence and its soul for the world to see. So now let's discuss the principles of indigenous creative crafts.
Movement is the principle of design used to give artists the ability to lead a viewer's eyes around an art piece. Movement is the path the viewer's eye takes through the work of art, often to focal areas. Such movement can be directed along lines, edges, shape, and color within the work of art. Pattern is the repeating of an object or symbol all over the work of art. As for the balance, it is the distribution of the visual weight of objects, colors, texture, and space. Balance is significant because if you don't have a sense of balance with your designs, then the viewer's eye won't know where to look, and what you're trying to communicate may not get across because areas of less interest can easily go unnoticed. There are three types of balance: the symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial. Number one is the symmetrical balance. The symmetrical balance that is achieved by arranging elements on either side of the center of a composition in an equally weighted manner. Number two is asymmetrical balance. Asymmetrical balance occurs when you have different visual images on either side of a design, and yet the image still seems balanced. Furthermore, asymmetrical balance is more dynamic and interesting since it evokes feelings of modernism, movement, and energy. Number three is radial. The use of radial symmetry is to simply create balance with the use of a circular or radially oriented designs, shapes, and lines to create a balanced center for any piece of work.
Unity. Unity is the principle of design that unifies all other principles within a piece of work, allowing each individual element to coexist with one another to form an aesthetically pleasing design. And also, unity is present when we want an art to feel unified, such that all the elements are fit together comfortably. Variety. Variety is the use of several elements of design to hold the viewer's eye through and around the work of art. Unity is the feeling of harmony between all parts of the work of art, which creates a sense of completeness. Also, post-unity and variety principles are needed for the areas of interest in the composition along with places for our eyes to rest, thereby creating unity in the work. Rhythm. Rhythm is a principle of design that suggests movement or action. Rhythm is usually achieved through the repetition of lines, shapes, colors, and more. It creates a visual tempo and artwork and provide a path for the viewer's eye to follow. Rhythm is created by movement implied through the repetition of elements of art in a non-uniform but organized way. It is also related the rhythm in music, unlike pattern, which demands consistency written relies on variety.
Scales. It is the overall physical size, and it refers to the relative size of an element in a design when compared to another element. It is responsible for creating a visual hierarchy among the elements of your creation. It tells the viewers what things to focus on, what order to look at them, and what's the most important element to focus on. Emphasis. It is part of the design which catches the viewer's attention, and also it is the principle of creating a centered, interesting artwork, often achieved by color contrast and by the lines that attract the eye to it. Contrast. It adds a variety to the total design and creates unity. And it also refers to the use of visually different elements. In addition to capturing attention, contrast can guide the viewer's eye to a focal point, highlight important on, and add variety, or even drama to a design.
Measuring and laying out indigenous design. In using the local knowledge and practices on counting and measurements, the Kalinga groups of people uses their body, such as the length of a foot, the width of a finger, and the distance, are still prevalent measurements among the tribe until this time. Most indigenous people uses hands even until now, and here are some of the measurements that indigenous people uses in creating indigenous craft. First, the sin tamucho, or the inch. Second is the sin chakulap, or the hand. And third is the sin changan, or the handspan, and the sin taklay, fathom, or the arms are stretched sideways. Implementing and creating creative designs, reminding us with the beauty, simplicity, and symbolisms. The designs, colors of the old traditions and cultures are ageless. The importance of laying out is not only to look attractive, but also help the people to understand and appreciate the message the designs of the craft is conveying. And the measurements enables us to compare and carefully estimate the lengths of the indigenous crafts.
Example of measuring and laying out of indigenous design is rattan basket. Rattan baskets are storage vessels made of fibers from the rattan palm, a tree indigenous to parts of Southeast Asia and Africa. Basket weavers typically harvest rattan palm fronds from the wild or from dedicated farms, then stem or soak them to make them malleable. Once softened, the fronds are tightly woven into durable, weather-resistant baskets that are beloved all over the world. Most rattan baskets are used for storage. The common raw materials used in making baskets are rattan, abaca, nito, tikog, buri, bamboo, pandan, coconut leaves and sticks, palm leaves, and beeswax. The picture shows how the indigenous people measure the baskets. Length is always given for the longest side of the basket. Width is always given for the shorter side of the basket. Height is always measured from the bottom of the basket to the top.
We all know that a successful project begins with an accurate measurements and layout work. So when it comes to making a crafts, it is important that we take accurate measurements and lay out the link first in order for us to ensure the final project fits properly and look amazing. Not only will an accurate measurement help us to ensure a proper fit, but it will also help us create professional looking finished projects. So before we get started, we need to determine the length of the materials and the angles as well.